What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. We're doing this series. We're going along, doing our due diligence like we've been saying. This list is based off of PFF's list and their top guys, and we're just going through and giving our own rankings based off that. But this has been an amazing series. Make sure to like and subscribe to the video if you've been tuning in. Make sure to comment below the guys you've been researching. I appreciate it. We all in this together. We in this draft season together. I love this. This is football at its purest. But today we are doing the top edge rushers. Yes, sir. Money position. As you know, in the totem pole, it's quarterback, left tackle, and then pass rusher or edge defender, however these guys, however you want to say. So we got 10 guys here. Let's start it out. But before we get into that, I have an honorable mention. JT Tuimoloau, edge out of Ohio State, wearing number 44, standing at about 6'5", 269 pounds. On the year, he had 14 sacks, 13 QB hits, and 21 hurries. Man, we're gonna be giving hurries. Don't let anyone, tell you that hurries is not a defensive end stat. It is very much so important. The sickness is the sack, but before you can get there, you gotta force and make your presence known, plays before. But JT Tuimoloau, when I watch him, I think he's very athletic, extremely athletic. Of the two defensive ends on the field, he got great closing speed, high effort play guy. He's a better rusher backside. But the reason why I got him so low on this list, when you watch Ohio State, like, he's not much of a run stopper, pretty much not at all, and he's more of a pass rusher. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like, as a pass rusher, he's mainly reliant on his speed and his physical tools. Yes, in theory that can translate to the next level, but I need you to have counters in the game. I need to see you. Are you working the hands to get on the hip of the tackle? When the offensive tackle takes away your plan, can you react on the fly? And I'm gonna be honest with you, he has little to any counters in his game. When he's stonewalled, unless he can use that first step and actually get into a groove. That's when you'll see him at his best. But I'm at the next level. I can't guarantee that you're gonna always have that first step, especially on these tackles in this league. And what we got, these are premier tackles, especially in that class last year. Those are premier tackles, man. So that is JT Tuimoloau, honorable mention, out of Ohio State. At number 10, we have the edge rusher from Ole Miss, Umanmielen, standing about 6'4", 255 pounds. On a year, he had 11 sacks, 16 QB hits, and 29 hurries. Okay, this guy has remarkable bend. He's also, one of those speed rusher type guys. He's not very active with his hands. I noticed that with in his tape. He reminds mainly off position. If his speed can get him to the blind spot of a tackle, then he can most likely win the rep. But as far as, working the hands in order to get on the backside shoulder of the tackles, you're not going to really see that. His hands are typically by his side, or always, the most he'll do is try to get, put his hand on the back hip as he's doing a spin move, or if he does a rip over, he's trying to get to his back hip so he can propel himself to get the sack. He has some good sack numbers, in my opinion. Very athletic. He does have a solid stab. I think that has potential for him to stop the run. I'm not going to say he's a pure run stopper, but when he does do the stab, I do see that strength of him stonewalling a tackle and using that length. But and other than that, he's just mainly a speed rusher type guy that needs to develop some moves and hand moves, in my opinion, because he leaves his chest vulnerable for these tackles, and I know at the next level they're going to punch his chest. So he's definitely going to have to adapt that into his game. That is Umanmielen out of Ole Miss. The next edge rusher we have, defensive end, we got Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State. We just seen this kid in the Texas game. He's probably gonna have another remarkable game in the national championship game. High effort guy. I just love this kid. Honestly, he's stands about 6'5", 260 pounds. Had on the year 10 sacks, 16 QB hits, and 33 hurries. Very, very high motor type of guy. He is the leader of this defense, and you can see it. he's a guy who's not going to give up on a play even when he gets stonewalled. He's going to he's not a guy that, you know, jumps off the screen athletically, a phenomenal repertoire of moves in his you know, game, but he somehow is always around a quarterback, always around making a sack, especially in those, you know, high pressure games when it's time to, when you need him to get a sack. And I think it's because I feel like he's just a technician. He's just a technician with his hands. He's breaking the game down. He's one of those defensive ends I love that has, you know, a plan when he rushes, you know, not just going out there and putting moves together on the fly that don't work. No, I think there's a rhythm to his madness. There's a method to his madness. He's a methodical rusher. He will try to, I seen him occupy just enough on the D tackle, or not the D tackle, on the offensive tackle. And as he's doing this, he's pushing the guy further and further to the quarterback at an angle. And next thing you know, he's within the quarterback's range and he can disengage and get the sack. Just sacks ferociously in the run game. He will do his job in maintaining the edge. He's going to fire off, you know, punch with great leverage. He runs the horn very well. What I mean by that, we're going to see that in the drill, because he's gonna get the invites in the NFL Combine, and they have this figure 8 drill. I can tell he does that very well. But the way he turns the corner and when it's time to get a sack, also able to drop back in coverage as well. It looked like, you know, somewhat of a linebacker. But and I love this trait in especially in a defender. He plays angry. He plays like angry, and you can tell. And that is just high effort guy. And the fact that he's able to maintain this for 4 quarters, you know, with that high exhaustion of energy, very, very impressive. That is Jack Sawyer, edge guy out of Ohio State. At number 8, this edge rusher I have on my list is going to surprise a lot of people that he's this far low on my list. And honestly, it's just showing you, I'm just trying to display as much, you know, as I can, that I'm not just very impressed with the guy, you know, compared to everyone else's hype. And that guy is Mykel Williams out of Georgia, standing about 6'5", 265 pounds, 5 sacks, 6 QB hits, and 15 hurries. Now, I've been naming all these stats, and compared to everyone else, you know, his stats don't just, you know, add up. And I'm not just talking about the sack, you know, numbers, even though, you know, sacks is probably the most attractive stat that everyone pays attention to. Also, the hurries. I really pay attention to the hurries. You know, everyone is, you know, upper 30s, upper, you know, 20s with the hurries, and he doesn't have that much. And when you turn on the film, the guy, he's on a very talented team. He's surrounded by great players. I mean, this Georgia defense, you know, especially over his years, is one of probably the most legendary defensive run that this school has had. And when you watch him, he's a bigger guy at the edge, but they got him lined up at the 3 tech a lot, got him lined up head up a lot, and he's, you know, he's going to rush down the middle of guys, but he's not going to, he has to literally catch guys you know, off balance in order to fully, you know, win the rep. In my opinion, when I saw he has a slow get off, like I said, he'll line up in a 3, order to hit a 4. He's a methodical power rusher, which I will give him. At least he will try to set up the offensive lineman before, you know, just rushing down the middle of the guy. He'll at least try to open up the offensive lineman and try to take his chest and then rush down the midline, and he'll get pushed that way. Not overly athletic compared to the other guys. He got some hand fight. Also, I noticed he has a regular stance. He's in a different stance every single time, mainly because I think they got him lined up in different positions. I even seen him at one play versus Missouri, line up at the head up 0, and I think that's, you know, maybe this is a coaching thing, because he's always in a different position. I've seen him in a 2-point stance, 3-point stance. He's just a guy that they lined up. I love his versatility with that, but at the next level, if you're trying to be lined up as an edge, I don't think, you know, you're gonna make it as a 0 technique. So we got to really clean up that stance. He's not a premier rusher. Like, he's not a premier pass rusher. You know, I understand that, but you know, these edge rushers, if you're gonna be ranked high according to everyone else with the Abdul Carters, I think I need to see something that separates you. So is it, you know, I see him try to broadcast himself as somewhat of a pass rusher, but he's used, and like, he's a guy that's going to be a part of the cavalry rush. What I mean by that, that wave of rush on a defense that'll come into a quarterback versus, a guy that's straight up beating a guy one-on-one. No, he's that guy coming to clean up, or he's the guy that 3 people at the same time are beating their man, and he's one of the 3 people beating their man. I'm not usually seeing him be the one being the initiator. And, he can be good if he focuses on the technical stuff, like the hand fight, move like he's a basketball player is just a bit, being able to, I'm really interested how he's going to test and how, a team is going to add to that. I do not underestimate these coaches in the NFL. I feel like maybe with some teachings they can ingrain some stuff, but it's fine for me to have him high up on this list. I really don't see it, and being late in his career, how he's going to develop this. But that's Mykel Williams, edge out of Georgia. The next guy on this list at number 7, edge rusher, I have Mike Green out of Marshall. Whereas number 15, standing at about 6'4", 248 pounds. On the year, he has 17 sacks, 10 hits, and 38 hurries. Yes, Lou, you got a small school guy ranked over a SEC guy? Yes, turn on the film. Turn on the film. A lot of these draft guys that's in this community with me, they're seeing the exact same thing with this kid. This kid is going to be something special in the league. He has that blank canvas that I feel like you can build upon, and you can definitely, see. I feel he's a former linebacker converted to an edge. Plus there, he's able to handle himself, at somewhat even at that level versus the run. He's extremely athletic. I see him knifing through the offensive lineman, diving 10 yards to just get the tackle. I see him, chasing down guys backside. He's able to squeeze down, be the backside guy. If you're not running to his side, I've seen him multiple times on film run backside, run down the run defender on an outside toss backside every single time. I'm really interested to see what his 40 going to be. I feel like he's going to run a great 40, probably one like a linebacker level 40, and he's going to be an edge guy. And with the right teaching, extremely fast. I love that he constantly beat offensive linemen to the spot, constantly. He's working to get off. He's working the steps. I think he understands and just gets it. Instincts are just impeccable. He's playing, 1,000 miles per hour every single snap. He is a stand-up end. He has some linebacker ability. Solid tackle in the open field, like I said. This guy is just, I feel like the sky's the limit with this guy, and I love his motor. He's going to impact a franchise wherever he goes. I'm telling you right now. Remember the name Mike Green, because this blank canvas, man, this is going to be great, man. That is Mike Green, edge out of Marshall, man. The next edge at number 6, I have Donovan Ezeiruaku out of Boston College, wearing number 6, standing about 6'2", 247 pounds. He has 14 sacks on the year, 18 QB hits, and 29 hurries. Man, this kid is amazing, man. He looks extremely strong. That's one thing I noticed. He has a high motor as well. I think his favorite move is the rip. Whenever he does a move, he does like with his hand. That's why I believe he has some ability in his hand fight. He does it ferociously. He's doing the club down to the offensive lineman's hands so ferociously, and it's working every time. I think he's a pound for pound. He looks stronger than what he is. I feel like he's a pound for pound defensive end rusher. Stout versus the run. At Boston College, they're very gritty. At Boston College, they want to run the ball. They want to do the best. Stop the run. Seeing his hand in the dirt. He's also standing up as well. Pass rushing rise. I feel like he has some ability. Needs to work on, getting just a tad bit more athletic. I feel like there's some athletic upside to him, though. He has a multitude of counters. That's why I do believe in his hand fight. Like, he will redirect, even though his plan may not work because, tackles may be just slightly more athletic. He is working counters consistently. Like, one of his counters I love, it was beautiful. He just did versus Western Kentucky. He did a swipe down on the hands, on the tackle's hands, rushes outside, the tackle is there, does a spin move, gets his elbow to the inside of the offensive lineman, and once he does, obviously the spin move initially is not getting him free, but him overemphasizing that elbow moves the lineman out the way. I'm telling you, this guy's upper body strength and the biceps, triceps, man, it's something to pay attention to. He can definitely be one of those technicians in the NFL. That's Donovan Ezeiruaku out of Boston College, man. Very special. The next edge guy on my list at number 5, we got Kennard out of South Carolina, standing at about 6'5", 254 pounds. Wears number 5, had 10 sacks on the year, 6 QB hits, and 23 hurries. First thing that jumps off the film is his long frame. You gotta love guys with that long frame, because when they do that long arm, their arm becomes immediately longer than the 2 arms of the tackle, which means they can create space at any time. Very much so impressive with the guy. The guy looks like, in my opinion, a receiver rushing off the edge with the speed, and he has a multitude of moves. Got some great bend, relentless effort. This guy was just a high effort guy all season. He's a little undersized weight rise, but he has an insane get off, and he's a long stride rusher. That tells me he's going to closing in on the space of the tackle quickly, or closing in and on his prey with the quarterback quickly. So guys got to pay attention to that, because with that long stride, he's only going to get stronger, and that stride is going to become more effective. Great closing speed, like I said. High energy guy, will run the horn very well. I can't wait to see this guy in the combine in that figure 8 drill, because I'm telling you, he's going to be phenomenal running the sacks. I'm telling you, like, he's always around the ball. He the way he angles and attacks, he's going to be definitely a rusher down type. He's definitely going to be on those packages. One of those guys you got to have out there. If he messes up just a tad bit, he's smart enough. So that is Kennard, edge out of South Carolina. Pet cat alert. Draft pet cat alert. The next guy at number 4, Landon Jackson out of Arkansas, number 40, standing at about 6'7", 280 pounds. On the year, he had 7 sacks, 8 QB hits, 21 hurries. Pet cat alert. This is one of my guys, man. Insane size. I said it. At 6'7", 280 pounds. That is insane. That's gonna give people problems. He got freakishly long arms with that size. And I just talked about it with another prospect. That long arm being longer than 2. Imagine his long arms being longer than 2 with certain tackles. And he's strong, man. He has solid bend. These arms of him give him so many advantages. Extremely active, in the run as well. Like, for a tall guy, and you think he'll get chopped down for being a taller guy, he plays with insane leverage, and a big guy at that weight playing with that leverage is going to be almost impossible to move. I can only imagine, run defense oriented team, getting this guy, it's going to make that defense even more stronger, man. Out in coverage, move pretty well. Tackles are ferocious. Like, he's trying to slam down, or like not even just slam down in a bad way. Like, all his tackles, like, you feel him leave an extra, oomph on, the guy who's getting tackled. And I can only imagine, like, that sending like a message to these guys, like, hey, I'm coming. Like, hey, I'm coming. Like, and that's just, it screams footballer to me. I love this guy. Love him, scouting him as a prospect. I feel like he's a guy that's going to translate to the league. I really do expect him to. Man, like, it's just what a build, and you don't expect that in a guy. But I'm telling you, man, he's a footballer, man. Love this kid, Landon Jackson, out of Arkansas, man. At number 3, we got James Pearce Jr. out of Tennessee, man. Standing about 6'5", 243 pounds. Wears number 27. Got 8 sacks on the year, 4 hits, 43 QB hurries, man. Phenomenal player. When I watch him, he's a lighter edge guy, but he has, what I like about his game, he has counters. Like, if someone stonewalls him, he has a counter, and he's always moving forward, heading towards the quarterback, getting those sacks. Great open field tackler in space as well. I love, ends that can move out in space. My one knock against him, he's not very solid versus the run defender, but hey, obviously his strength is the passing, the run passing downs, and he excels with it. Can generate a great rush to power with momentum. A good speed to power usually comes from the strength, but get fast guys, if they can get to their high speed within like 2 to 3 yards and generate enough power on the tackle, hey, I love that. Doesn't really shoot his hands when taking on blockers. Tends to over rush the QB. I feel like he needs to work in his game, that he needs to be able to work back on the work back towards a quarterback. So it's just maintaining that that rush lane integrity. In my opinion, I think he's just when he knives through like that, he's just trying to show his presence and hoping someone could come clean up behind. But he'll definitely will overshoot the the target. And the rush lane integrity, like I said, is a weakness. And he needs to develop more moves into his game. But for a prospect coming in, I feel like he has a great canvas to work upon. Go to a couple of these DN seminars and over the summer, get to learn from these guys and get technical and use that with his speed. This guy can be very dangerous in the NFL. That is James Pearce Jr. out of Tennessee. My next guy is going to surprise some people because he's not listed as an edge, but he is, and I'm listing him as an edge for him. My number 2 edge rusher in this draft is Jalon Walker out of Georgia, number 11. I know he's listed as a linebacker, but listen, he's not a linebacker. He's an edge. Standing at about 6'2", 245 pounds, had 6.5 sacks on a year with 28 pressures. In his film, I rarely see him, being, dropped back. So as a linebacker, I don't even know why he even entered in this to the draft as a linebacker, because he does rush from depth at time. I guess that can be, but he's either a rushing linebacker and mainly an edge, and I feel like he is a full-time edge in my opinion. Great physical profile, like I said, he's more of a stand-up 3-4, 4-3 type of rusher. Also does the QB spot by spies. I feel like that's the only time that he can really be a true linebacker. So he's versatile in that. You can, if you list him as an edge, you can definitely have him in that. A lot of he's rarely dropping in coverage, not a traditional linebacker, but he is a Micah Parsons disciple. Whereas that number 11, high motor, great pursuit backside. He's fast with time force in the NFL. But like I said, once he makes that change to the edge position, I feel like a lot of these would easily be cleaned up. And that's my guy, the formerly linebacker but needs to convert to an edge, Jalon Walker out of Georgia. And at the number 1 edge position is completely obvious. Abdul Carter out of Penn State. Whereas number 11, standing about 6'3", 13 sacks on the year, 10 hits, 43 QB hurries. Also a Micah Parsons disciple. Faster than I would say a Carter. Absolutely great frame, elite bend, close down speed is insane. Will close down the QB in a few steps. Finishes, he finishes the sacks, which I very much so in love. Moves with a purpose. Has a number of moves in his repertoire. I heard a scout criticize like he doesn't have that many moves. I'm seeing him with a rip down, a club. I'm seeing a spin move. I'm like, what moves are you talking about? Because what film are you watching? Because with the film I'm watching, he obviously has that. And like I said, insane. He has sneaky strength as well. His hips are immaculate, man. The way he can get skinny and get his hips around on the hip, on the backside of a tackle, it's insane. He does it so fast. He rushes with such confidence also, like in the sacks. I told you, in a young guy, that's very important. Everyone has a spin move, in their game, but people don't have the confidence because they don't try it. And if you have the confidence, I think that's just as dangerous of, actually, having, landing it. Sacks with such ferocity, and yes, he's also a Michael disciple, an incredibly twitchy prospect. But hey, that is all. That is my Abdul Carter. What a player. Thank you again for watching this list, man. If you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe to the video. Comment down below. Edge guy, a small school edge guy that you want me to take a look at that's feeling undervalued. Tell me about the guys I got on this list, how you feel. I know I got some guys that's very low than the norm, or some guys higher than the norm, but hey, this is my list based off what I've doing, and I'm showing my work and giving you my insight. I appreciate y'all for making it this far. Until next time. Peace.